Om. 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 ॐ ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। ॐ समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। So last time we completed the portion where the characteristics of a bhakta were given, chapter 1, section 3. And some say Parasharya, the son of Parashar, he says puja. Puja is, so it's at the level of the body that some people like to do revel in puja, so that is a sign, indication of bhakti. One thing you have to remember that a bhakta will always do puja, but just because some person is doing puja doesn't mean he has got bhakti in the mind. Just the external action doesn't tell, but generally a person who has devotion, his expression of the, I told you, the love in the mind is the same, but the expressions of that emotion can be different. It could be love, anger, jealousy, whatever. So these expressions of bhakti, expressions of devotion are different. Some like to do puja, some like to talk about the Lord. So kirtan, bhajan, stories, that is at the level of the speech. And then some like to revel in the self. So contemplate, meditate on the self, which is the highest and most difficult. That is at the level of the mind. But then as per Narad Bhagwan himself, he says that any kind of forgetfulness of the Lord is very painful. That is what a characteristic of devotion is. So you may be doing anything, you must not forget the Lord. And so we have given you a very easy way is to bring God in every single transaction in our life. If we can bring God in there somehow, um, we are acknowledging his presence and also our gratitude. And let it be exactly as described above there. That's why we had left it. And then the question is, are there any examples of this, like what Narad Bhagwan said in the last sutra, even slight forgetfulness of the Lord, is the person gets very agitated. So is there any example of that? And then the example given is Yatha Vraj Gopikanam, just as the love of the gopis of Vraja. Now these gopis, we must know exactly who they were. So in Treta Yuga, when Sri Ram went into the forest, Dandakaranya, we know that he met many sadhus, rishis, sadhus. It is said that all the sadhus were so enamored by his beauty, but they were rishis. They had already recognized their oneness with the Lord. Now, this love, how to express that love? Because in oneness, who is loving who? But apparently, they were very, because he was very handsome, very beautiful. It is said they were also men, he was also. So, how do you express? Then Bhagwan recognized what was in their minds and blessed them that right now, I know you cannot do anything or express your love in any way. But when I come down again as Krishna, Sri Krishna, And that time you will have that opportunity. And all those rishis from Dandakaranya became Gopikas of Vraja. So the reason that we must know this is that is what will make it very easy for us to understand why they had that kind of love for Bhagwan. See, one Gopika was, another thing about Gopikas that you have to know is that they were all married. See, some people in their twisted mentality, they put a sort of not a very sort of a vulgar thing between, the love of Bhagwan with Gopikas. It isn't like that. We must not think it like that. The gopis, one thing was they were all married. Second thing was, they were older than him also, some of them. They're not that they were younger. Some of them were fat also, it is said. Some of them were ugly also, it is said. So it is all kinds of ladies were there, these gopikas. And they could not get their minds out of Krishna. They could not. So once Narad Bhagwan was there, and this one Gopika was just shaking her head and getting very agitated and everything. And so Narad Bhagwan asked her, why you so? She says, you know what? I'm trying to get Krishna out of my mind, and I can't. And that's what I'm trying to shake him off from my mind, but I can't. So that this is when you know their background, then you can understand that they knew the oneness with Bhagwan. So their love was not, if they had not known the oneness with the Lord, then what would have happened is, that is what is said in the next, okay. So next, tatra api na mahatmya jnana vismriti apavadaha. Even there, in this condition of total love, there is no bane of forgetting the glory of the Lord. So glory, what is the glory of the Lord? That the Lord and me are not different. Even though they were very, very, externally, they expressed their love for Bhagwan. When he played his flute, they just left everything and they ran. They wanted him to come and steal the butter. They went and complained also to Yashoda Maya, but it was all out of love. So that devotion, so it was not love of a lower order, it was devotion of the highest order. Even when Uddhav had gone there, because he also wanted to know what is so special about the Gopikas. And he also realized that they knew the oneness. It wasn't like they didn't. Because if they had not known the oneness, and the reason they knew the oneness is because they were the rishis, they were already realized masters in the previous births. So if they had not known, then what would have happened is tad vihinam jaranam iva. Love without the knowledge of his true nature is like the illicit love for the paramour. So this love was not illicit, their love. It was very legit. It was knowing that, yeah, you are the son of Yashoda. And the reason means, see, there is a text. Text means there's a portion in Bhagavad Puran called Gopika Geet. This Gopika Geet on the, that Sharad Purnima night when that Ras Leela happened, when Bhagwan played his flute, one story there is that all the gopikas ran hearing his flute, and there was one gopika whose husband objected. He said, you can't go. So what she did was she said, okay, if I can't go, then I'm going to go merge with him in spirit. And by her yoga maya, right there and there in front of her husband in her own house, she created the fire and she burned the body. She said, if you don't allow me to go there in person, then I merge with him in spirit. And she did that right there. So they knew. The other thing about this Ras Leela is that it is said that when Bhagwan was, dancing with them, the subjective meaning Gurudev has given, Gopikas represent the thoughts. What was happening was he was in the middle, it seems, and then the Gopikas were dancing around, but each Gopika felt that Bhagwan was dancing with her. So there were that many Krishnas also, as many gopis. Okay. And the subjective meaning of that Gurudev has given as their thoughts. Gopikas represent the thoughts and Krishna is the supreme consciousness. So behind every thought, there is the supreme consciousness for us. Behind every thought, there is the supreme consciousness. That is the subjective Vedantic meaning of that. But during that Ras Leela, what happened was a thought came to the mind of the Gopikas that, oh, Bhagwan is with us, dancing for us, dancing with us. This is how Bhagwan takes care of his devotees. Now, that thought is coming out of ego. So, the minute that thought came to the Gopikas, he disappeared. He disappeared. So then they got very suddenly, Bhagwan disappeared. Now what? Then they gave out the Gopika Geet. Guruji has written a commentary on that also. And in that, one of the verses, they say, yeah, you are the son of Nand Baba and Yashoda, but we know that you are nothing but our inner self. That is what tells us that they knew what his nature was, what my own nature is, and that's why their love cannot be considered as anything illicit as the paramount. This is lust. See, in attachment or in this illicit love of the paramour, what it is the person who is loving is more concerned about his or her own feelings than the other person. That is the difference. Whereas in this love of the Gopikas with Bhagwan Shri Krishna, they were more worried about Bhagwan Krishna's feelings rather than that. That is love. That is real love. That is unconditional love. When you are more concerned of the feelings of your beloved rather than, now I will feel lonely if you go, and why are you going and why are you doing all this? That sort of feelings are not there. Now, how do we know this? So there is another story where one fine day, Narad Bhagwan had the thought that I am the greatest devotee of the Lord. So he also, had the thought. Bhagwan knows everything because Bhagwan is within us. So anyway, Bhagwan understood what is happening with Narad Bhagwan. So it is said that Narad ji was going to Dwarka to visit Shri Krishna. So he went to Dwarka. And then he said, "Oh, where is?" They said, "Oh, Bhagwan is sleeping." It was in the middle of the day. He said, "Bhagwan is sleeping in the middle of the day." Yeah, what to do? He's getting a headache. Bhagwan is getting a headache. Yes, Bhagwan is getting a headache, so he's resting. But you can go. You are Narad Muni. You have got entry everywhere. I told you he had entry everywhere. So in the innermost chambers of Bhagwan, in the bedroom, you can go, no problem, you go. He's sleeping, he's resting. So he goes, he says, Bhagwan, you have got a headache. Bhagwan says, yeah, what to do? He says, but there must be some medicine, some antidote for this headache. He says, yeah, there is. If you can bring me the dust from the feet of one of my devotees, my headache will go away right away. He said, oh, really? Oh, okay, no problem. Now see, the thought has come to him that he's the greatest devotee. Now, what should have actually happened if he was the greatest devotee? Immediately, he should have rubbed his feet and he said, Bhagwan, here's it. No, he goes to Rukmini. First, he goes to Rukmini, his wife, Bhagwan's wife. Says, this is what is happening. And this is what... Rukmini says, are you kidding me? If I put the dust off my feet, I will go to hell. He's my husband. I cannot put my dust off my feet on his forehead because that will just that's a way straight to hell. No way I'm doing that. He said, now what to do? So he's thinking, who should I go to? Who should I go to? Goes to a few people and then finally says, no, they say, these Gopikas are great devotees. Let me just go to these Gopikas only. So he goes to Vrindavan. He goes to Gopikas. The Gopikas immediately they come, how is Bhagwan? Because you see, once he left, Bhagwan left, he never returned. He never returned there. So I never looked back, If you see Gurudev and all, they would leave at the airport. They would never look back. They would just go further. Only front. We look, oh, bye, 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 bye. We all do that. But they don't. Anyway, so he went and he said, this is what has happened. Immediately, all the Gopikas, they lay on the floor and they raise their legs and they're like, please take dust from my feet. He says, but do you know that if you put your dust on his forehead, you will go to hell. They say, we will go to hell for 1,000 years, but he must not suffer even for a minute. It's okay. It's okay. We'll rot in hell. We don't care. Then he had to wipe the feet of all the gopikas because everybody said, you must take mine. And not only that, he had to take that load back to Dwarka. That time he realized. So Bhagwan made him do that. Not only that you clean, you think you're the greatest devotee, now you're cleaning the feet of my devotees and carrying their dust load, carrying back to Dwarka. So that is why their name is always taken as the one of the greatest devotees. Like Hanumanji is there, Mirabai is there, Kabir Das ji, Tulsi Das ji. These are all the great devotees, and all these devotees knew very well that they are one with the Lord. Okay, but they didn't want. They never said that. They didn't. They didn't want. They wanted to serve the Lord. They wanted to love the Lord. So they would never say that, you and I are one. Then who's serving who? Right? Even with Hanumanji in Valmiki Ramayana, there's the story where Bhagwan asks him, what is your relationship with me? He says, as a body, I'm your servant. As the Jiva, I'm a part of you. But from the supreme, from the highest level, you and I are one. This Hanumanji has told Bhagwan Ram. So they knew all this, okay? If not, it would have been like that illicit love. And the why is it not illicit love? And that I briefly touched on it. Na asti eva tasmin tat sukha sukhitvam. In the profane love for the paramour, the sense of happiness in the happiness given to another surely does not exist at all. So in the case of this paramour, which is illicit love, there is not the element that he or she should be happy. The element is I should be happy. I must be happy. And that's why, this Bhartrhari is there. There was a great king who has written Vairagya Shatakam. He wrote 1,000 verses on Vairagya only. So there is his story where he was a king and his wife was very beautiful. The queen was very beautiful and he loved his queen very much. So one day, Rishi came to his court, and he was a very just king. He was this thing. So the Rishi gave him a fruit. And he said, you eat this fruit because I want you to have a long, healthy life because you're very good. You're a good king and, you should do more good for your people. So you should have long life also. You should have good health also, right? For that. So that's why you eat the fruit. Now this king, because he loved his wife so much, or he thought so, he said, I shouldn't eat this. I should give it to my wife because then she will live long and she will be in good health and she will give me more pleasures, right? He was given so that you get long life so you can serve your praja, your people. Now he's thinking he gives it to his wife. Okay, fine. Now that wife was having illicit relations with the army chief. So she thinks, why should I eat? I'm getting so much pleasure from this general of the army. So I should give it to him. So he will have a long life and he will be healthy and he will give me pleasure. So she gives that fruit to the army general. Now the army general was in love with a fruit vendor. That lady used to sell fruits. He thinks, why should I eat it myself? I should give it to her so she will have a long life and a healthy life and she will give me a lot of pleasure. So she gives it to her. He gives it to her, the general. Now that lady is thinking, whoa, because it was given by the rishi. So it was a very, good looking fruit, you can say. She says, wow, what a fruit. This will bear me a lot of money. Why should I eat it? It was given, you eat. She says, no, 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 no. I'll get more money than my whole basket of fruits. This one, I will ask the maximum money. And who can give me the maximum money is the king. So she goes to the palace to sell that fruit to the king. And the king says, he recognizes the fruit, right? Which he had given. He says, how did you end up with the fruit? And then he makes inquiries. And then he realizes all this. That time, immediately there is dispassion. Then the rishi comes and tells him, like Vairagya has to be there. I gave it to you so that you can serve the people. Instead of that, you wanted somebody to give you pleasure. Then that somebody wanted. So that's when he has written the Vairagya Shatakam, the 1,000 verses on dispassion, why dispassion should be developed. So that is how this illicit love is, okay, where it is only concerned about me. I should get pleasure. I should get pleasure, not the other person. Okay, then.
Jaya ji, we missed 23.
Tad vihinam jaranam iva. I said that.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
24. Tasmin, that asti. Why is it illicit love? That is told in 24. And now we go to 24, which takes us to chapter 2. Like I told you, the chapters have been divided by Gurudev, not in the original Bhagavad. Now, what is being said in this chapter is how bhakti is superior. I told you this is a bhakti text. And of course, Narad Bhagwan is going to say bhakti is superior to everything. And then we have to understand one. Satu karma jnana yogebhyaha api adhikatara. The supreme devotion, bhakti, is indeed as a technique even superior to the path of action, karma, the path of knowledge, jnana, and the path of disciplined contemplation, yoga. So we know these four paths, karma, jnana, yoga, and bhakti. These are the four paths. We are familiar with those. Now, why is it superior to everyone? So karma is of two kinds. Na? There is sakama karma and nishkama karma. So sakama is with kama. Kama is desire. So with desire, when I have a desire for progeny, for spouse, for house, for money, promotion, job, whatever, then I do karma. But then that karma, like we saw in Bhagavad Gita, that karma has to be converted into nishkama karma. So karma yoga. Why? Because the only purpose of karma, the way karma is to be used, is to purify ourselves, not to fulfill desires. Now, when we convert karma into karma yoga, to purify, every karma gives two results, two types of. One is internal, one is external. The internal result is purification of mind. External result is whatever that you want in the external world. When you do karma only for the external result, the internal result is not going to happen, because the karma, the focus of that action is only on that result. And then when I get the result, I become very happy. When I don't get the result, I become very depressed. And what all is happening is that I'm creating a vasana for myself and creating a blueprint for the next birth. But if the karma is done as a nishkam karma, means for the internal result, for the purification of, you do the karma with the same effort, same intensity, same longing, same thing, it will give you the internal result, and the external result will come anyway, because that is the law of karma. See, internally, for internal result, when you do, and you do it to the best, because why? You're doing it for yourself. Like, I want to purify myself because I want to get the clarity of this knowledge. So you're doing it with extreme caution, full effort. External result will automatically come. So that is the benefit of that karma yoga, which is nishkam karma. Now, to do nishkam karma, you have to have love. When you do nishkam, see, in sakama karma, you are loving the external object. Okay, that's why you're doing it, because I want that promotion, I want that job, I want that house, I want that whatever. So you're doing it for that love. When you're doing it for this internal, it is showing love for God. Why do you want to purify your mind? Why does anybody? Because we are saying, I want clarity of that knowledge. I want clarity about God. I want to know who God is. So that love for God is there, which is driving you to do karma yoga. So to do karma yoga, love is required. So this is why he says, bhakti, love is prerequisite. It's like this, I've told you this before. There are many soaps or laundry detergents that I can use to wash my clothes. But without water, all of them are inefficient. You cannot wash clothes without the basic basis of water, or even bathe without water. Only soap I have, dry soap I'm putting on my skin. How does that work? So these jnana, karma, yoga, these are the soaps. But the water is bhakti. So for all three, now for jnana, knowledge, see, I have knowledge of so many things. Okay, I know the prime minister of the country. I know the CEO of my company. I know chocolates. I know, so do I love them all? Whatever I know, I may or may not love. But suppose if I love something, then what am I going to do? Now, it very common. You go somewhere and you, oh, what a beautiful dish. Immediately you want to know the recipe. When you love something, you want knowledge. But not if you have knowledge, doesn't mean you will love that thing. So for jnana also, otherwise it will be dry knowledge. So jnana also begins first with love. That is what he says. You love God, and now what is happening is you want to know more about him. So you go into this path of jnana. See, we had Swamiji's Yajna here, and Swamiji had come for breakfast, and this lady had come from North Carolina. So for breakfast, I'd made this sabudana khichdi, because Swamiji said, you're Marathi, you make whatever Marathi. She's South Indian. She loved it so much. She's like, tell me the recipe. Immediately. If you love something, you will immediately want to know. But if you know, just because you know, we know so many, I know spiders and tigers, and do I want to go into the detail of what the tiger eats and where he lives and what he does? It is not like that. Doesn't work like that, right? So that's why he says love is superior to jnana. When you have love, you will go for knowledge. So love becomes again the first thing. Yoga, what is yoga? Raj yoga or hatha yoga? Through the body, you're trying to control the mind. Why are you trying to control the mind? Control of the mind is purification of the mind. So what is the ultimate thing for yoga also? You're trying to reach the supreme by through the body, by controlling the mind. See, in these three paths, the thing is also every path there is a prerequisite required. So for karma, you have to know how to do the karma. See, with karma yoga, it has got both knowledge and love. Okay, so prerequisite is there's some prerequisite that is required. There is another reason. Jnana, you have to be able to read, at least you have to be able to hear. You are to get knowledge. Minimum is you have to read and write. Na, if you don't know how to read or write, how will you get the knowledge from the books? Knowledge is coming from the Vedas. How will you get it? So you can't. Hatha yoga, you have to have a strong body. Now for bhakti, for love, what prerequisite is there? All of us have the capital of bhakti. Gurudev used to give the example. See, if a person wants to start a business, now he needs the capital of money. Okay. But if the person's father is a rich man, parents are very, very rich, then he already has that capital from the parents. But somebody who is not so rich, then they have to come up with the capital. So this karma, jnana, and hatha yoga is like that. Is like the child who doesn't have rich parents. But bhakti is like the rich parents are there. The money is there already. Because even if I say that I don't love anything in this world, I always love myself. So nobody can claim that I have no love at all. Something or the other you have to love. Finally, your own self, though, we always, always love. And don't think that people who commit suicide, they don't love them. They actually love themselves so much. They think that this life is not giving me happiness. I want another life. That's why that suicide is happening. So it is out of love only that suicide happened. There was a man, it seems, who went and he wanted to jump into the ocean to commit suicide. So he was going on the beach, and then suddenly there was a suitcase there. So he thought, oh, who left this suitcase here? What is this suitcase? So he opened it, was full of money. He said, oh, now I don't have to kill myself. I've got this money. So love is its own capital. That is why he's saying that among the three paths, Bhakti is superior. This is why it is being said like this. Also, phala rupatva. It is because it is of the nature of the fruits of all yogas. Why are you doing karma yoga? To purify your mind. Why are you purifying your mind? To know God. Why are you doing jnana yoga? You're trying to learn about God. Okay, hatha yoga, you're trying to learn. Bhakti, when you start loving God to that extent, you don't even have to know or want to know God. Your love is so much that God only will reveal himself to you. God only will come and take. Especially the saints we read, at least Marathi saints that I know, they were all illiterate. They couldn't read, they couldn't write. And they've said, I don't know anything, I cannot read, I cannot write. Baba, you do whatever you have to do, you do. And only, they were all devotees of Vitthal Bhagwan, Pandharpur. So they said, no, you do. In one of the stories is very amazing. It is of, what is his name? I forget his name. He had gone somewhere and his wife was pregnant. And he couldn't come back for her delivery. And when he comes back, the child is born, and he says, oh my God, you were all alone. They were all the backward class, so they couldn't go into the village and all that kind of stuff. She says, no, but your sister came and she was with me all the time and she helped me with my delivery. He says, my sister? She says, yeah, she was here all the time. So next time he meets his sister, he asked her, he said, how did you know that my wife needed help? She said, I never went. I never went. Then he says, Vitthal Bhagwan came as a sister, as his sister, and he took care. This is how Bhagwan takes care of his devotees. When the love is real, Bhagwan will take care. Just this morning there is a book called Woman Seeker that has been published. It is all about women saints. Okay, and I have not read it. I had 5 copies, all of them got sold. So I now, Guruji in his Kathopanishad, not Kathopanishad, sorry, chapter 15, Bhagavad Gita, he was saying how Bhagwan takes care. So there was this one woman seeker, it seems, Sadhvi. She was staying on the top of the mountain alone, and she was doing contemplation on the Lord. Nothing. So there was a cow who would climb up the hill, and then there was nobody to milk that cow. The cow, she just gave her own milk in the cup and would come down. So one person thought, why this cow is every day going up and down, up and down? Nobody, there's no guide, there's no person with this cow. Then he found out. So Guruji told, Guruji was just in tears. Guruji has little stories. He says, you should read the book. It's like, this is how the devotees taken care. Therefore, he's saying it is just love God. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to study. You don't have to, God only will reveal everything. But it's not easy. It is not easy. Okay. To remain on these paths, karma, jnana, and hatha, we have to love that path. Right? Otherwise, you can't. But to remain in love, you're already loving. Now what? If as long as it's unconditional, but if like, oh, it's love. Oh God, you didn't give me this. Now I don't love you. That is not bhakti, anyways. Okay, that is how it is. Another reason why bhakti is most important. Ishwarasya api abhimana dveshitvat dainya dainya priyakta tat tatvacha. To the Lord, also because of God's dislike for egoism and because of his love for meekness, devotion alone is superior. Because the devotee becomes very meek. Even in the Bible says, right? And the meek shall gain the kingdom of heaven. Right? Humility is has to be surrendered. Now, what happens in karma? Karma gives ego. All 3 paths can give ego. I see how much work I'm doing, what other people are doing. I am the one that is doing it. So karma can give ego. Jnana, definitely. How many jnana yajnas have I attended? I met Gurudev in this year and I did this and I did. So jnana, very easy to get ego. Hatha yoga also. How much exercise I see how strong I am. I can do, Shirsasan and hold like that, hold my breath for this long, that long. But in devotion, already the person is surrendered to the Lord, to the higher altar. So ego cannot come. And when ego comes, Bhagwan takes care of it right away. Like one story I told you, Narad Bhagwan thought, I am the greatest devotee. Bhagwan immediately made him clean the, understand. There is another beautiful story. So Narad Bhagwan, it seems, one day was doing meditation in his, wherever in the Himalayas, wherever. And Cupid came to disturb his meditation. And he realized that Cupid has come to disturb my meditation, and he didn't get disturbed. And he continued with his meditation. So Cupid had to go back. He said, oh, my flower arrow is not working on Narad Bhagwan. So he went back. Now what happened was, after he came out of meditation, immediately he thought, ah, va, I was meditating and I resisted Cupid. So what he said, now he says, I have to see, ego is like that. I'll tell you what is with ego. Ego likes to talk. Ego wants to go tell. When anything, if you feel like telling somebody something, no, it is coming out of ego. And that's where you check. Don't tell. Tell Bhagwan. Talk to Bhagwan. Tell him, Bhagwan, this is this. That is okay. So Narad Bhagwan thought, I have to tell somebody, who is the best person? My father. No, my father will love me. He will be so happy. So he went to Brahmaji. So when he went and told Brahmaji this thing, Brahmaji said, son, you told me, please don't go tell anybody else. Narad Bhagwan thought, what? What? You're not even praising me. You're not even saying, yes, son, you are so great. You did this. Nothing. Brahmaji said, please don't. Okay, fine. So he says, I'll go to Shivji. So he goes to Shivji. Now Shivji is constantly in meditation, but Parvati is there. She says, oh my God, Narad Bhagwan has come. So she goes and actually she disturbs Shivji. She says, come out of meditation, guest has come. He says, oh, guest, Garan. Oh, no, okay. Oh, why have you come? Because, as it is, Shivji doesn't like if anybody disturbs. So he tells him, this is what happened. I resisted. And for that, you disturb my meditation? Are you crazy? Get out, he says. Get out of my house. Now he's felt even more. Ego feels bad really fast. That is another thing about ego. He thought, what? He threw me out of the house. He thought I disturbed his meditation. What a big thing I did. And he thinks that for this stupid thing, you disturbed my meditation. Then he thinks, now who should I tell? Now only remaining is Vishnu Bhagwan. He says, I should now. I am his greatest devotee. He will definitely understand. So he goes to Vishnu and he tells Vishnu. Now Vishnu Bhagwan says, oh, my devotee is falling. I cannot let that happen. I cannot let my devotee fall. He says, very good, Narad. Very good. You did this. I'm very happy. So Narad Bhagwan is very happy. See, Narad, see, my father also didn't recognize my greatness. Shivji too didn't. He threw me out of the house. But see, Vishnu, he was going. So when he was going, suddenly there was this world. He thought, oh, I never saw that world before. So, but he says, what is this? I have to go look. So he goes and there is a, proclamation is going on in that world. And what is the proclamation? That the Rajkumari, the princess of that, she is going to do Swayamvar. She is going to pick her own husband. And on such and such date, it is going to happen. So he goes, he says, who is this Rajkumari? Let me go see. So he goes, and that she's Vishwa Mohini. She's like the most beautiful lady that Narad Bhagwan had ever seen in his whole life. And he falls head over heels in love with this girl. And he says, my life is totally incomplete now unless I marry this girl. So he says, who can help me? Who can help me marry this girl? Because now Swayamvar means all the kings will come and, there'll be all these beautiful, rich people. I'm just, Narad Bhagwan. I've got nothing except that Veena. I've got nothing else. So he goes back to Vishnu Bhagwan. He says, Vishnu, Narayan Bhagwan, please make me most beautiful, because that Vishwa Mohini should marry me only, because I'm going to go for Swayamvar. I want to get married to her. Of course, he says, I will do what is best for you, Vishnu Bhagwan says. So he says, what is best for me is marrying this girl. So that means that's what Vishnu Bhagwan is going to do. Fine. So the day of the Swayamvar comes, Narad Bhagwan is sitting there, and all these kings are sitting there. Then this Vishwamohini is going around, and she looks at each person, and she moves further. When she comes to Narad Bhagwan, she giggles, she smiles, Other people, she never smiled, but here she smiles. And she went ahead, and then suddenly, in halfway through there, Vishnu Bhagwan himself is coming into that Swayamvar. So Narad Bhagwan says, why Vishnu is here? So this Vishwamohini, she goes and she garlands Vishnu Bhagwan. Oh my God, Narad Bhagwan is now furious. He's like, you told me you would do what is good for me. Now you yourself show up, and now the girl that I love, without whom my life would be totally incomplete, you are getting married to her. She's coming and garlanding you. You purposely came here, And why did she laugh at me? So the king that is sitting next to him, he says to that king, why do you think that she laughed when she came in front of me? He says, have you seen your face in the mirror? So there was no mirror that time. So they bring him a pot of water. When he looks, it's face of a monkey. And now that Vishwamohini has married, he says, Vishnu, you got so jealous of me that you made my face look like a monkey, and you said, I will do what is good for you, and this is good for me, and now you want to get married to this woman. So he goes and he curses Vishnu, that you will, like I suffered the pangs of separation from this Vishwamohini whom I had fallen in love with totally, you will also suffer. And that is why Bhagwan Ram, that curse is what gives him birth as Ram, and Sita gets separated. But the minute he curses Bhagwan, he realizes his mistake. He says, oh my God. And that Vishwamohini is nothing but Maya. So Maya Devi will always marry Vishnu Bhagwan. And then he realizes that spell of Maya comes off, his delusion goes away, and he says, when Bhagwan said, I will do what is best for you, this is what he meant, because marriage is not for me. Marriage is dukkham dukkham. I was happy, but that little ego came, and this is how I fell to an extent where I cursed my own God, my own Ishta Devata, I cursed. So then he realizes his mistake. He says, I'm so sorry, Bhagwan. Bhagwan says, no, you have cursed. I will take your curse, and I have to go anyway on earth. I will go. And now then the whole Ramayana happens. So this is the beauty of devotion, is that God will protect you. God will protect you. If your love is to that extent, he will protect you. So that's why he says that's why he doesn't like egoism. This is what it is. God's dislike for egoism. So when the bhakta gets any little bit of ego, Bhagavan will come. He's falling. I've given you the example. It's like the cat holding her baby. That is how God is holding on to the devotee. So the devotee doesn't have to worry where we go. But Jnana is like the monkey. The monkey's baby has to hold on to the mother monkey. Otherwise, she'll just drop the baby and jump from here to there. So that's why bhakti and meekness, ego, when you surrender, when you say, I don't know anything, I know nothing. This is what the bhakta says. I know nothing. He knows everything. I know nothing except to love you, except to serve you. I want to serve you. So I don't want that oneness. But Santa Tukaram has said this, Marathi saint. He says, give me as many births as you want. I don't care. But make sure that in every birth, I love you the same or even more in each birth. I don't care. I don't want. But Bhagwan himself came with his Viman and took Santa Tukaram. It is said. He came and he took him. So this is how, that's why it is, bhakti is superior. Next. For the love, so what is now being told, tasyaha jnanam eva sadhanam mityeke. To develop bhakti, what are the means? That is this, what is this chapter is now telling us. Chapter 2, section 2. Knowledge alone is the means. This is what is being said. For the love divine, knowledge alone is the means. So says some acharyas. Already in the first sutra, I told you that it is not sutras that only Narad Bhagwan's opinion is there. It's a we describe, he has said. So the we, this is doesn't say which acharya, but he says all the acharyas, knowledge. So once you know God, I have also told you this many times before in my class. I say, see, you start studying. Okay, we start first. We don't know anything about God. What is our knowledge of God? God is over there. I'm over here. I have to light. That was my impression. Anyway, mom said, every evening you have to light a lamp in front of God, and then okay, whatever you want, you ask God, and then I'll do this. Bhagwan, you do this, then I'll do this. So fast. I've done that also. Bhagwan, this. So it was a relationship of, Bhagwan can give me things and then I should do something in return. So I will do fast, I will do this, I will do that. That was the type of relationship, right? Then you come and then you start reading, and that's why even the adhikari, the sadhana chatushtaya that is there in Tattvabodh, the Vivek, Vairagya, Shat Sampati, and Mukshutvam, nobody has it 100% when we start studying. They don't. None of us have it. So suddenly, if Mukshutvam comes, like those are the very great masters, like Raman Maharshi, then that is a different category altogether. Okay. Even when we see Gurudev's life, he thought this was all a hoax. He went to write to expose Swami Shivananda, he went to the Divine Life Society. He was a journalist and he said, oh, what is all this mumbo jumbo these sadhus are doing? And then this, I'm going to write an expose. So for that, he went there. And when he stayed in the ashram and he realized, oh my God. So that knowledge then led to bhakti, and then knowledge, and then, the rest is history. So that's why some some acharyas say that knowledge. So try to know about God, and then this bhakti will come. Because see, the more you know about God, there is nothing bad that you will come to know. Everything will be all good. He's compassionate, loving, all the good qualities. There's nothing, he's jealous, he's this, there's nothing like that. So you have no choice but to love him. So if you know more and more about God, that is what will help in developing bhakti, devotion, love. Okay. Then some others, Anonya Ashrayatvam iti anne. Anne others, some other acharyas, mutually dependent declare others. So this is the same thing. They say the more knowledge you have, the more love will increase. So love is dependent on knowledge. Or you love and then you will want to know. So you first fall in love. It's like, especially when young girls, you see someone, suddenly you fall in love, then you want to know more about that person. Or even the actors, right? Those people see movies and then they fall in love with this, whatever, actor, actress. Then they want to know more. Oh, this is this. They want to know more and more. And I've seen, in front of Shah Rukh, the whole crowd standing in front of for his darshan, like Bhagwan. Then he will come out on the terrace and he'll do bye, 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 and all wave and all that, right? So some acharyas say knowledge alone is the thing. Some say they're mutually. So if you have love, you will want to know. If you know, you will develop love. So this is how others say. Okay. Now, Swayam Phala Rupeta iti Brahma Kumaraha. Now, Brahma Kumaras, the four Manas Putras of Brahmaji, Sanak, Sanandana, Sanat, and Sanatana. They are the older brothers of Narad Bhagwan. Narad Bhagwan is the younger. So he's quoting his own brothers. And he says, by itself, bhakti is its own fruit. Thus say the sons of Brahma, the creator. Bhakti is its own fruit means what? You start loving, and that love will go on increasing only. If it is unconditional, it will go on increasing. If it is conditional, then it is not even bhakti. Any I love you because of, then that is not bhakti. That is lower type of love. Attachment it is, where where you are more concerned about your needs. Attachment is where you're concerned about more about your own need. Oh, I will be lonely if you leave the house, so don't leave the house. This is what happens when two mothers I know, their only daughters, they were not allowed to go. They wanted to go out of town for college. They were not allowed. So why is that? Because I will feel lonely. You need to release. You need to release the person. Release, even if it's your own child. If that child wants to go. The third mother also told me. One mother, he went to Toronto. The son went to, he didn't listen. These two girls, they stayed at home because the mothers didn't allow. That son went and she said, no, but I said, is your son happy there? She said, yeah, he is happy. That's why he doesn't want to come to Vancouver. He's her only son. Then I said to her, why can't you find happiness in his happiness? See, we can't. That tells you that it is attachment. It is not love. Love is where, where the other person happy, you are happy. Okay, you're happy being away from home. You're happy being in Toronto or being anywhere. You are happy. Are you happy? So if the person is saying, I am happy, then you must find your happiness in that happiness. That is love, which is unconditional. Because now you put a condition. If you go, I am not happy now, so that's why don't go. That doesn't work. Okay. So Brahma Kumaras say that love increases. You love, and then it goes on increasing this real love. The more you release, the more closer you will get. Rather than holding it like this, what happens is when you hold something like, suppose if I hold a pencil, so I am not giving freedom to the pencil also to go anywhere. And I also don't have the freedom because I can't let go, right? So neither have I the freedom, nor does the pencil have the freedom. So now nobody has the freedom, and love releases. Love, real love gives freedom. You let go. And if that love is real, that person will come back to you. They will be in touch with you or whatever. Okay. So this is what the Sanat Kumaras, they are actually Vedantins. Huh? But from their standpoint also, that is what they're saying. In the next two sutras, an example is given, which is I find it a bit complicated. So we'll read these two together, 31 and 32. Raja Graha Bhojanadishu Tathaiva Drishtatvat, because it is seen demonstrated as such in the examples of palace and dinner, etc. Na tena Raja Paritoshaha Kshuda Shantirva. Because of it, a mere knowledge alone, neither the favor of the king nor the appeasement of hunger can ever happen. This is, like I said, this kind of a bit of a funny example. So the example is Rajagraha's palace of the king. In that palace, there is going to be a dinner party. Okay, that is the scenario. That is going to be a dinner party. Now, there is a person, because see, there are three things given, right? What was the first sadhan is jnana, knowledge. Second sadhan was both knowledge dependent on love, love dependent. And the third was love alone. Love is its own fulfillment. That is what is meant by this 30. Swayam phala rupetiti. See, when you love and there is no conditions on the other person, then you just keep loving. It's, you love the mission. You do the work. Don't worry whether others are doing, not doing, what they are doing. Nothing. You love na, so you do work. Finish. Story is ended there. That's just what is meant by this third one. That my love, one of the Swamijis had written in my book once before, work is love made visible. See, when we work for our children, grandchildren, what is that? If you truly love, you will work. And that work itself is its own fulfillment. I'm happy working. I am working. What others are doing, whether they are noticing, not noticing, anybody saying thank you, no thank you, it should not matter. It should not matter. You just go on do. Because the doing is for your own purity. So you get purified now. So that is what. Now this Rajagraha Bhojanadishu means what? There is a dinner party going. Now, there is a person who, he may be in the employment of the king. So he goes to the palace every day. He knows people there. The king also, oh, this guy is the one who does this work. So he has knowledge. And now, of course, in that, he has the knowledge that a dinner is happening there. Now, just this knowledge, do you think will get him an invitation into the palace? Need not, right? It can, if the king thinks whatever, but just that I have the knowledge that even in our world, suppose if my neighbor is giving a party, I have the knowledge, but doesn't mean that I'm going to get invited, right? I know there's a party going on there. So this is one aspect of this. The second is anonya ashrayatvam iti anni. So they're saying it is dependent. So now what this is suppose I am so one of the inner people I know. Suppose I know the chief chef in the kitchen in that palace. I go, what are the dishes? So now I know now I know more details. I love those dishes also, right? All the dishes are having okay. What are the recipes? I know the recipes also. So there is knowledge also, and there is love also. Even that interdependent, like there is, I know what is being cooked. I know I love that. Does that mean I'll get an invitation? It doesn't. You may know the chief chef, but he is not the one that is inviting people. The guests are being invited by the king. So that also cannot give it. Now, the third thing, which the Brahma Kumaras have said, Phala Rupa Iti, Brahma Kumara. So this thing, imagine this palace. Now the king has noticed this person. Okay, says, oh, this person, he works so hard. He comes, he does it, whatever is told to him, is very sincere. He's very this thing. This is when in our yajna, one of the ladies came to me and said, she is not attending mission classes, but her husband has been. She says, oh, my husband, 42 years, he has been attending mission classes. I said, okay. And she says, that should be recognized. I'm like, excuse me? And then she's taking, oh, and so also, they should. I said, I couldn't even believe, right? And I'm like, all the karma yoga that I have done, down the drain. If I say that I have to be recognized, gone. I said, gone, finished, down the drain. What is the point? So you want recognition for just attending the classes? It should be announced at Yajna. That is what she said. So and so said, oh. See, this is how people don't even have an idea of what this is all about, right? So now the king notices this person and sends him an invite. Okay, he's an ordinary person, like he knows, but the king notices. Now what happens is, just the fact this person may not go for the dinner, but just the fact that he got invited in there, he's happy. He's happy just in that. That is the last one. That phala rupatva, it's his own fulfillment. The invitation itself, he's content, he's happy. He's happy. He doesn't have to go eat the food. He doesn't have to attend the thing, nothing. The king invited me. The king invited me, right? So that's why this is how this example is working with these three methods that Narad Bhagwan has given us. Okay, that is how this is. Now, conclusion. Tasmat saiva. Tasmat saha eva grayaha mumukshu bihi. Tasmat, therefore, that supreme love for God alone is to be sought after by seekers of complete liberation. So what is being said? Forget about knowledge, forget about this thing. Just keep loving God. Just keep loving God. Unconditional, nothing. And then that itself will give liberation. Love will give liberation is Bhagwan will recognize. It's like this person in that example, he was doing his work very sincerely, whatever, right? Now what happened was the king noticed that, oh, he is one of the ones, and he got invited to the dinner. That way, you go on loving God, you go on loving God, you go on doing whatever is required, you go on doing whatever karma has to be done, whatever has to be done, you go on doing. quietly, without any expectation of anything. You go on doing, and then God will notice, and God will give you liberation. In bhakti, liberation comes directly from God. God just gives. Because he says, because the bhakta is not asking only, he's not asking for liberation. I don't want anything. I only want to love you. This is the highest bhakta, highest. Okay, so that is what he says. Narad Bhagwan says, therefore, you just keep loving God. Just keep loving Gurudev, keep loving the mission, keep loving your work, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. Your mind, get it purified, get it purified, get it purified. Ultimate victory will be yours. Ultimately, it will be yours. Okay? Now, how to develop love divine is the next chapter. So, chapter 3, section 1. Tasyaha sadhanani gayanti acharyaha. Ancient teachers sing differently upon the means of developing this devotion in the human bosom. Now, here the word gayanti is important. Gayanti means they're singing. Okay. Acharya, again, there's no particular name. So, various masters, they're singing. Why singing? Why not kathayanti? Why not they just say? Because, when you're happy, you sing. Right? If you're in love, you sing, especially Bollywood movies. The minute there's love, there's a song there, right? So that's why these acharyas, they already have so much love for God that they sing, the song just comes, pours out of them. They don't want to talk, they want to just sing. Singing represents happiness. Because when you're happy, of course, in Bollywood movies, even when you're sad, you sing. Dil toot gaya, ab kya kare. That is a different matter. But generally in life, when you're sad, you don't sing. But when you're happy, then suddenly you feel like singing, or, that is what, that's why it says. Now, what is the means here? This is more Vedantic. Tattu, tattu, vishaya tyagat, sangat tyagat cha. Indeed, the sources of devotion are explored and exploited fully through renunciation of sense objects and also by giving up attachments to beings around. Attach and detach. Okay, so renunciation of sense objects. What is it? Is it a physical renunciation? No, it is not a physical renunciation. It is a renunciation in the mind. This is now jnana. See how bhakti and jnana are now coming together. In knowledge, what are we telling? In what the way this is explained in knowledge is understand the falsity of the world. Understand that they are false. They are not real, and detach. Whereas in bhakti, what they're saying is you love God so much that in front of that love, the love for everything else becomes very minor. That it's the same is being said. The attitude, that's why in the initial stages you feel like bhakti is different and jnana is different, but ultimately it is one and the same. The highest bhakta and the highest jnani, they are one. They're called as jnani bhakta. Bhagwan in Bhagavad Gita says that jnani bhakta is one who knows the oneness, and yet he is a devotee and he's maintaining his differences. So this is what he says, Vishaya Tyagat, Vishaya, nothing. You need not leave home and go. You can stay. And what is dependency? When I feel that I cannot live without this, that feeling should not be there. And that is where tapas comes into play. So you do tapas, you do a sugar detox. Then you realize that, oh, I lived without sugar, without eating sugar. Or I fast. Or this thing, you come to know that you can do without this, So one day you don't have your, pillow when you're traveling, or tea, morning tea. And as long as you're at home, this is what I do. If I'm at home, very comfortably, I'm used to it. But if I'm traveling, I've been traveling, then maybe there is tea, maybe there is coffee. Usually, if there is coffee, or sometimes there's nothing, that's okay. That's just what will tell you whether you're attached or not. If you like, I've given you the example many times. When I was 18, if I didn't see a movie, I thought my life was over. on Saturday. Friday movie released, Saturday I had to see it. Otherwise, there was no meaning for my life. That is attachment. Okay, that is what is meant by Vishaya Tyagat. Vishaya, objects of the world. And nothing should be given up also. Only your dependency, mental dependency, your thought that what will I do if this is not there? That needs to be given up. Sangha, attachment to beings. Through knowledge, understanding that they are not different from me. I am them. That is knowledge. Here, only attachment you have is to God. That's why attach and detach. This is what Gurudev said. Like the monkey. See, the monkey, when he leaves one branch, he holds on to the other branch before he lets go of this previous branch. So you attach to the higher and detach from the lower. And this is all mental. There's nothing, this thing. Like, of course, we see in cases of exalted devotees like Mirabai, she just gave up, she never returned. Tulsidas ji, he was so much attached to his wife. And his wife said, this much attachment, if you had for God, God would have given you darshan only now. Bhagwan Ram, finished. He left, he never went back. Even Bhagwan Shri Krishna, I told you, he never went back to the Gopikas, he never went to Vrindavan again. Once he left at age 8, he did come. Then he went, stayed and with Sandipani, studied and never went back. Never looked back. Gurudev, I'm telling you, at the airports, never looked back. Never, never, never. That is what this is. Mental detachment from all beings. And that doesn't mean that you don't love that person. You actually love that person more. But there is not that feeling that if this person goes, then that is attachment. Like I told you, if this person goes, then my life is incomplete. I will be unhappy without you. The mother said to me, I am unhappy because my son is in Toronto. I said, what is he? Is he unhappy? No, he is happy. Then why can't you see your happiness in that happiness, in his happiness? That is what we need to do. Next, avyavrata bhajanat. Also through continuous, tender, and loving service of the Lord. Bhaj dhatu has got three meanings. Bhajan comes from bhaj dhatu, and bhaj dhatu is to serve, which is at the level of the body, to worship at the level of the mind, and to meditate or contemplate at the level of the intellect. So when this avyavrit bhajanat is there, that doesn't mean that you sit 24 hours and keep singing bhajans all the time or kirtan. Nobody can do that. Okay, we have to work. That doesn't mean. So with the body, you keep serving. Now, serving means if you have a job, you serve your company as a higher altar without any expectation. That is how it is. Worshipping the Lord doesn't mean that you're now going to say, oh, I have to worship. This is what Narada Bhakti is. So now I'm going to sit and ignore all my other duties and I'm going to only sit and worship. No, 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 no. The work itself, make it into a worship. Convert karma into karma yoga. That is what that is. Then you are doing it for the Lord. Because karma yoga, one definition, one meaning aspect of karma yoga, Bhagavan Shankaracharya is given is Ishwarar Buddhi, Ishwara Arpana Buddhi, the Buddhi that this work is offered only to the Lord. And it doesn't specify that work means, sit and do bhajan in front of the Lord or do puja of the Lord. Any work that is assigned to you, yeah, whatever your work is, maybe it's cleaning the house, maybe it's cooking, maybe it's, taking care of somebody, whatever work it is. This is what is meant by. So bhajanat also is smaranat. Feel the presence of the Lord in everything. This is what I've always been telling you. In every interaction with the world, bring the Lord in. Somehow or the other, just bring him in there. That's why anytime you make a list, you write home. Anytime, everything you bring him in. That is what avyavrata bhajanat means. Avyavrata means continuous, without a break. So the thing is that you cannot just sing bhajans without a break all day, or you cannot sit in front of the altar and keep doing puja all day. That is not what is meant here. Whatever that you have to serve, whatever is your job, you serve with love. You do with love. In the mind, you think of the Lord. And from the Vedantic standpoint, when your mind is where your hands are in the presence, then you are with the Lord. That's Vedanta. Okay. Bhakti is your thinking. That's why I told you Sant Tukaram was given he never worked in his life, and his wife used to get very angry because they never had any food. So one farmer gave him the job of watching the farm, his fields, so that the cows won't come and eat. He went into meditation of Vittal Bhagwan. The cows came, they ate all the fields, all the crop was eaten. The farmer got really mad, fired him. But when he came home on his porch, there was grain which was way more than what that farm would have given him. So first thing he did was call the farmer and he said, you take whatever or take more because there's so much grain was there. So the farmer took, and then his wife was very happy. So she went to the market to buy something because she thought, oh, finally we have got some food to eat. So he stood on the road and everybody said, come, 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 take grain, come, come, come. So by the time the wife came, the whole porch was cleaned out. That is Avyavrata Bhajana. He never gave up the thought of the Lord. And because of that, the Lord took care of him. See, we are neither here nor there. That is our problem. So this is what. Okay, so we'll stop here. Next time we'll start with 37. Okay, any questions? All good?
Jayaji, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
In Gurudev's commentary on Sutra 36, there's a line there, a sentence, breaks in spiritual practices are not advisable. Not only they destroy the effects of the past practices, but they can cause positive bad effects.
Bad effects. Yeah, I have underlined that in red.
Yeah, I think at
In my
the
book.
Yajna you asked us to underline. So I have it underlined in my book.
I have underlined. Okay. So see, spiritual practice is when you're doing japa, that is what is meant here. So if see, Avyavrata Bhajana is there, okay, continuous. Like I said, japa also, can you do continuous whole day 24/7? No, no. So you have taken up, say, a thing of japa or, doing morning prayers. That he says, try not to break it. But there are times when that breaks.
Yeah.
Suppose if I'm traveling, okay, or whatever, that is okay, but come back to it. Come back to it. As you get more rooted in your practice, see, one of the practices which we studied in Sadhana Panchakam is read the Vedas daily. That's the first instruction in Sadhana Panchakam, right? And Vedas there doesn't mean that bring Rig Veda and Samveda. No, 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 no. It means any book. So there is that itself is a spiritual practice. Reading, not National Geographic, not any kind of material world magazine, but some spiritual book. Now what happens is sometimes there happens a break, but it is recommended. That's why we see when Swamijis come, they still maintain their own practices. They maintain. This is what, yeah. Not only they destroy the effect, it's saying they destroy the effect. I don't that much agree in the sense when I think of chapter 6, there Bhagwan said the person could die, right? So the effect is never gone because that much karma has been done. Na? It's like the person has come to grade 4, suddenly that education cannot go anywhere. So there Bhagwan says that he will pick it up in the next life. Right? But here they can cause some positive bad effects. I am not really sure what, hence the necessity for the uninterrupted bhajana. He's saying uninterrupted. So try not to take a break. See, one thing, what he means here is break. You are perfectly fine and you're taking a break. Deliberate break, this is. That you don't do. That you don't do. Suppose if you give up, but even if you give up, Bhagwan has said, even if you give up for whatever reason it may be, see, when we study chapter 6, that is what Arjun says, what happens to the practices that have been done? Bhagwan says you will pick it up in the next birth. So, yeah, that is uninterrupted is, keep uninterrupted to me is as long as you keep bringing Bhagwan into your interactions, it is uninterrupted. That is what it is.
Okay.
You have to understand it in the, of course, with him, he is telling people, so because when he tells this much, people will have little breaks. If he doesn't say something like this, people will have a break only. Right? People will just take a break and then, yeah, that's okay, whatever, right? So that is also there. Sometimes masters will say that. From their standpoint, see, look at his life. Not one day, unless he was traveling on the plane or train or whatever, every day Bhagavad Gita in the evening, every day Upanishad in the morning, every single day for 40 years. Am I right, Tripti? Without a break. That was Avyavrata Bhajanat for him. Not that he did bhajan and kirtan, but he spoke on Bhagavad Gita, right? So don't take a break. For us, I have people who they want a break, so they took a break. Now one couple wants to come back. I said, do whatever you want to come back, you come back. You want to go, you go. That is not recommended. That is not good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we'll meet next Monday and we'll have a class at 6:15 or 7:15 your time. And then we'll see if we complete as much as we can. And if not, we continue in September. Om Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobrahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasya Shalini Desho Yam Kshobarahita Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Om Sarvesham Swasti Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ. Okay, Hari Om, everybody. See you next.
Thank you, Jayaji.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Jayaji.